Hi Source! Have you heard it? Yes, exactly, Christmas is near. So today we are going to do a little Christmas sweater and we are going to sew with our Coverstitch-Machine. Don't get confused, I'm using the Elna Easy Cover, which is the same model as the Janome 2000 CPX Cover Pro. For the tape binder, we are going to use the one from Sharp Sewing. You have to cut the stripes 1¼ inch, and it is a tape binder type A. This means it's the top that is folded and underneath you'll find a raw edge. To compare, there is also the tape binder type B, which folds the edges on top and underneath. But I don't work with the tape binder B because it gets pretty thick. And there is another tip I'd like to share with you. It comes from my friend Tanja. She showed me how to sew this little edge at the top of the sleeve with the sewing machine first. So it's pretty easy then that your two seams match. So thanks Tanja for your tip, and let's get sewing! First of all, you want to close one shoulder seam. If you're having troubles with bulky seams, you can always hammer them just a little bit at the start and the beginning. Then we're going to our tape binder. So make sure the fabric is as near as possible into the binder, so that the binder can capture the fabric very well. You don't have to press or to pull or whatever you'd like to do. Just guide the fabric slowly into the binder and help it to go through. So that's all there is to it. And the rest the binder will do all by itself. So it really is that easy as you think it is if you're looking at it. If it comes to the seam, you can lift your pressure foot and take a little piece of fabric, put it behind your needles, and then just continue to sew. So this is a little trick to make sure that the foot is always on the same height, that it is not a bit higher or lower than at the end or at the top of the foot. They do sell also those hump jumper, but I don't have any experience with it, so someday I will try it out. But as long as it works for me with those little piece of fabric, I keep going on like this. Don't forget you have to pull the needle threads towards you, then cut them, and you will pull the fabric away from you and cut the loop of thread and the fabric too. So that's this. Now you already have the first seam done with your binder. We're coming now to the sleeves. We're taking the first sleeve and it's the same step. Just go with the fabric as near as possible into the binder. I will do later on a tutorial how to adjust the binder that you are really as close as possible near the edge on the back of your fabric. But this tutorial is just only to show you how it's done if you want to do a little shirt or a sweater or what's on your mind. For me, it's a pretty quick way to make a finish, and it is so clean. You almost have to do nothing than to cut the fabric. Just make sure you're doing always a little test seam at the beginning before sewing, and then you want to make some adjustments, and then you're good to go. Now those are our sleeves. Now we're coming to the trick I told you, which is from my friend Tanja. She's always sewing this little piece at the beginning with the sewing machine because it can get pretty bulky with the serger. And the serger I've got, I have a brother of 40, let me think about it, 4234D. It's a good serger, but at the start sometimes it really is a pain. It's painful because it will not move, the fabric won't move, so this is really annoying sometimes. So this is this was really a good advice to do the beginning, and then afterwards you can close the sleeves with the serger. Don't forget to do a couple of back stitches so the seam won't open up. And you see, the seams are matching perfectly. And then you don't have to serge with the serger on top of it, you just continue the seam you've already done. So now we're going to close our second shoulder seam. Everything is prepared, so just go on sewing. See how easy it is if you prepare the seams like this. And now I'm going to attach my sleeves onto the shirt. Of course, you could attach the sleeves before doing the seams at the end of the sleeves, but I chose this method so I didn't have to change always the machines. Now we're already going to close our first side seam. You just want to make sure that the two seams under your arm are matching. Just hold it tight and continue to sew. Usually this works always for me. And perfect, the seams are matching. So now that is our last step. We are going to hem the shirt at the bottom. This is a version, or kind of a version for lazy people. I didn't measure too much. I just give it a good press and used some needles to fix the fabric. And in the end I'm gonna cut the rest of the fabric that I didn't get with my sewing foot with the scissors for applique. So I'll do another tutorial later on how to do this really the proper way, but for now this is just a quick and easy way to do it. And again, I'm using some fabric underneath my foot, behind the needles, to help the foot get over the seam, and that I do not have some skipped stitches. Usually I do not have skipped stitches, but it's always better to help the foot a little bit than to have your seam then afterwards if you have to undo your seam. But let's be honest, with the cover stitch machine it's pretty easy to undo some seams, so it's not really big of a deal. That's our second seam. So let me know how you solve those problems with getting over the seam. Do you have a hump jumper, or do you use a piece of fabric, or you do nothing at all? In the end, you want to make sure you go over the seam where you started, so this secures the last couple of stitches. If you'd like to, you can also undo some stitches until the two seams are really matching perfectly well. This is also a possibility, but I have sewn over now for this tutorial. And this is the finished seam at the bottom. My applique scissors, so those are pretty handy. And now we're finished. Yay! And what are you up to those days before Christmas? Are you buying some gifts for your children and grandchildren, or are you sewing some gifts for them? Maybe you are even sewing with your niece or your godchild. So let me know and post a comment in the box below. I would be interested. So, to all of you, from the bottom of my heart, Merry Christmas, and see you all next year.